there's no such thing as faceless people, because no matter who you kill, that person is a mother, or that person has a daughter, and you're killing somebody's mother or somebody's daughter, and there's no such thing as somebody without a face.
I mean, really, I think that's what everybody always wants to do, is just be be included.
People who don't talk much in school, or you never see them talking, that's the class where they open up, where they say the feelings they feel, because it's like you might see the person and say, oh, I'm afraid of that person, oh, I can never talk about my feelings, say my life. But in that class, no one laughs, no one puts you down, they all listen.
Even if they don't at the beginning, all of a sudden, the other voices that never got heard someplace down below, all of a sudden these voices come, and somebody turns around and says, whoa. And they'll say that to you. They'll say, I didn't know so-and-so was so smart. That's the first thing they'll do. It's like a rude awakening, you know, for them, that this person they went to school with all along, but they just never heard the person.
Well, they've been people that you've known all your life. You know, you've sat in the same classroom with them, but you've never really gotten to know them on such an intimate level, and you've never sort of been able to realize that they have just as much insight as you do, but they just, maybe they aren't as comfortable with opening up about it, or they're not as strong of or a loudmouth like I am. I don't know. I just find when I'm put into a class like this, I understand the sort of the smartness of everybody else now. It's different than mine, but it's there.
Reading, writing, and arithmetic are just they're tools to discovering poetry and art and literature and sculpture and all kinds of other different things, and the sciences. And those are the tools, and you need to build from that.
I used to think that being smart was kind of like you had the same opinions as me, because I was, of course, right, and you knew like information. You weren't ignorant, and you got A's and things like that.
There are all kinds of different smarts. There's book smarts, there's street smarts, there's people smarts.
I kind of started to realize that you can be smart as in like being a great storyteller. You can be smart as in, you know, playing music really well. And just not knowing like facts and figures doesn't make you not smart, just doesn't make you like interested in the same things that I am. Which, you know, it really broadened my horizons, you know.
There are other intelligences than just being, than knowing what this is and how this works. And, I mean, you have to understand other people.
People talk about this class as a heterogeneous class, and by now I don't even know what that means, because behind heterogeneous is the assumption that some kids are smart and some kids are middle and some kids aren't so. And I've mostly gotten convinced in this class that everybody I thought wasn't so has now emerged as a brilliant poet, a really interesting analyst of Shakespeare, a deep thinker about Kenny and Rukmani and Nectar and the Sieve, and I'm losing my categories.
I had a parent who called me one day who said, picked out a name, and you have some really smart people in that class. And the person who she was referring to was the person who had previously been special ed.
There's a debate about tracking, about whether or not it's equitable, but there's a larger question percolating in this class about whether or not education has availed itself to the full spectrum of intellectual abilities that students are displaying.
This is Rebecca. She's 15 years old. She's Jewish. She's Caucasian. She's very opinionated. She likes to disagree with me. Well, she doesn't like to disagree with me, but we have different opinions. So I talk with them.
Somebody tell me about the conversation with Prospero and Miranda. Yes.
He kind of just tells her about like what happened in their past when his brother, when he was like, he sort of lived in his library for a while, and his brother took over and got all these powerful friends which kicked him out of Italy. That's Fatima. Also very opinionated. She's black, she's Islamic. I think she defends like a lot of causes which affect her personally, and she's like very, very adamant on those causes. If I had just met someone, let's say Fatima, and she'd been like, I love Farrakhan, I would have like totally dismissed her and been like, okay, you like hate everyone and like blah blah blah. But no, I know you don't.
Yeah.
I mean, you still have these very strong opinions, but like you're not like all racist or anything.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I came into the class and like so. How can I say? I wasn't like racist.
Militant?
Yeah, militant, basically. I thought, like, I didn't think all white people were bad. I thought the most of them were. But, you know, as I went into the world literature class, I'm like, hey, there's different kind of people. Race does not define what every person in the world or whatever. But, you know, I know it has a lot to do with it, and I just pray for the day that people can come open and really talk about their feelings and really say what they mean. And I think this class has been challenging because it's forced me to work. To really, really work.
It's a single way of seeing things. If you're in a homogeneous setting, or as it plays out in this district, there's high honors, and regular. If you're sitting in any one of those, the chances of you hearing from a diverse range of voices is slim to none.
One of the purposes of it is to have the different voices emerge, and a lot of the time you have voices that have never been heard come out in a class. That's also another kind of hope that we have. Kids who have never had a place to voice their opinion come forward.
I learned from both the teacher and the students, because she wants the students to come out with what they feel, and with that the students do come out and we learn from them.
I think what it does is it shifts, again, your perception of how we educate. The kids become not only the learners, but in many ways the teachers.
Right? They should have a fight. Oh my! They should be have a battle with words, like trying to win Julia. And then they should be. Wait, no.
We're not in the front validating. We don't really validate or invalidate. We push and we encourage them to continue. So when they look to us, we're suggesting that you look to the others, and then they look at me with that sense of, oh, now I got it, and I can at least walk away thinking, see, I'm really trying to tell you that you are smart, and you don't need me to pontificate from the front of the room.
When you're talking to somebody who is I don't want to say the complete opposite, but different opinions than you, it kind of forces you, and you're trying to explain to them your opinion, it really forces you to think of your opinion. I had all these impressions that weren't really formed into opinions, but then when I'm forced to bring them out and present them to someone else and try to make them convincing and talk in a conversation, it really makes you realize what you actually think.
One of my problems is that this gets seen as an experiment, whereas tract classes here or anywhere else are not seen as an experiment. Those are track classes around the country are presumed given, deserved, and working because they produce the very stratified outcomes that they started with.
There are all sorts of things that conspire, I think, to keep kids in their place.
And, you know, we come from two different environments anyway. So, you know, our paths may cross again, who knows? But I want to go back and say, you know what I'm saying, the hardened communities and the ghettos and stuff like that, and I want to work with those type of people. Maybe she will too, who knows? Maybe she'll go back into the Jewish community, and maybe one day they'll, you know, be buddy-buddy again.
For me, being a sophomore, last year I didn't really see the tracking issue and the racial issue, things like that in the classrooms. But now it's there are strictly white classes, and when I go into these classes, I'm the only African American person.
It's not like they purposely keep people out of the classes. It's much more social pressure to excel or to not excel.
In a way, but you know what? You can be really intimidated by that type of thing because, when I was the only African American person in class, I'm strong,
Yeah.
But, there was times when I was thinking, should I just switch out of this class? I miss someone challenging me, challenging my opinion and telling me that, no, this is the way it's always going to be, And that's what I really did because Rebecca, honestly and truly, she honestly opened her mind to my opinions a lot of times. And we were willing to accept and respect my opinions.
I was thinking today before I got called over here, I was like, damn, I wish Fatima was here. This is the most boring class and we would never agree, we'd argue and yay. And I was like,
So yes, I do.